यार he's a perfectionist. जो भी करता है बड़ी बारीकी से करता है. And sometimes you always tend to think कि बारीकियों में जाकर फ्लेवर क्या स्वाद थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. बिल्कुल नहीं. अर्जुन कनुंगो, Mr. Flavorful every time. Thank you so much, brother, for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Salil. Always a pleasure to talk to you. You know that. Every time you start talking, the interview becomes longer than it's supposed to be. So
because there's so much. I'll tell you something, and I must share this with our viewers. Whenever Arjun comes, there's a 360-degree view that he brings along with it. So there was a young boy who was about 22 the other day when we met in a radio studio, and he was just listening to you talk. And I think very few people understand that you actually have a 360-degree view towards music, towards production, towards the industry, towards all these things. How do you keep yourself updated so much, yaar? And do you think that every artist now should, or they'll be out of the game?
I think that now is the time to do it. I don't know if you'll be out of the game because काफी अच्छे artists हैं जो label game में भी अच्छा कर रहे हैं यार. They are working with labels. They're doing well for themselves. It's not like you'll be out of the game. It's just that I feel कि this is my personal view that if you start being independent today and you start working in the independent space today, you will be the biggest artist in 5 years. Wow. And I think that is the goal for every artist, to become better and bigger. And I think if you are truly invested in yourself, then invest in yourself.
But what about the insecurity and the threat factor? पहले होता था actors के साथ में that they shouldn't become producers too early in their life. क्योंकि अगर वो जल्दी बन जाएंगे, then they'll say, oh, so you're coming to our territory. So what about the territorial fight that could happen?
वो तो होता है यार. I think that happens, but I think you know what, we are not going to be able to compete in the same space as the labels anyway right now. हमारा गोल ये नहीं है कि हम लेबल के रियल एस्टेट में जाके हमारा हाथ डाल दें. वो गोल नहीं है. The goal is that when you become an independent musician, you are accountable. क्या होता है कि हम लोग का लेबल जब ये बिग डैडी जब आ जाता है, हमारा ख्याल रखता है, हम लोग लेजी बन जाते हैं.
Correct.
Actually creatively is the problem, not at all financially. Labels are happy to invest in us independently also. They are not the bad guys here. The situation here is that हम लोग जब ये label पे sign करते हैं, then we become completely dependent on them. We don't think for ourselves anymore. गाना अगर अच्छा भी नहीं है, release कर लेते हैं. With independent music, what happens is that you tend to be accountable. अगर आपका loss है तो आपका ही loss है. अगर आपका success है तो आपका ही success है. You can't blame anybody. And you realize very quickly that the audience makes you adapt. If they like something, they don't like something. If you're making good music, bad music, they hold you accountable. नहीं हो रहा है तैसे भाई निकल जाओ. So it's that kind of game, and I think that I'm ready to play that game now. I feel like from the start of my career 6 years ago, I think बहुत सारे labels के साथ काम किया मैंने, बहुत सारे लोगों के साथ काम किया, and I feel like I've learned a lot, and I feel like now is the time to become that, from that 90% to become in the 99th percentile.
Correct.
That's the goal right now.
But the crazy part is you said 6 years. 6 years mein, this adaptive chip of Arjun Kanungo is just constantly changing. So there has to be some kind of formula. इतने सारे लोग हमें देखते हैं, and sometimes they're just scrolling through. I want to give them 2 or 3 things that are your must-haves for any new artists. जब वो नया start कर रहे होते, supposing that maybe they're using YouTube, maybe they're using a new label that they're about to sign. What are the 3 things they should look at? A, in the contracts. B, in the kind of team they have. C, in the kind of, the music that they're putting out. What are the 3 must-haves?
You named the 3 amazing things you've named. I think all the 3 things that you've said are actually the 3 realms that artists, have a problem with. One, of course, is contracts. Read your contract, guys. That's the number one thing. आपको पता चलेगा कि how much of our livelihood we just give away without reading.
Yeah.
ऐसा हम लोग मैंने एक contract sign किया था बहुत पहले, और I still feel bad about it. It's not like the song was a big hit or anything, but I did not take royalty on that song. And it's the only song I didn't take royalty on, and it's one of my biggest songs ever. So.
But do you get actual money? मतलब इस royalty से actually पैसा बनता है?
Yes, lakhs of rupees a month. So it's it's a big part of what we do, and I think that the royalty game is the future, man. It's where the musician will be able to make money his whole life without having to struggle. There's a lot of money in music, yaar. The recent statistic was right that only 13% or 20%. I don't know the exact. Don't quote me on this, but it was 13% is what I remember reading. I might be wrong completely. It was just a passing article.
Yeah.
Only 13% of Spotify revenues reach the artist.
Wow.
Yeah, so that means
Wow.
87%. I
Is
might
good.
be wrong about the statistic. I'm saying this again and again. I don't remember
Yeah.
perfectly, but I
No,
remember reading.
but a very small percentage
Small,
goes to the
small
artist.
part, yeah, goes to the artist. So the future is royalties because we are, by the time we split with the label, the DSP, we are left with the smallest share. We've picked the smallest straw. So I think number one is contract. Number two, I would say is, we definitely don't want to put too much pressure on ourselves. The problem with new artists is they want to come out with that perfect song, that perfect hit. Your first 10 songs, be unemotional about it. See, I made this mistake. I know I've been down that road. I released 10 songs in the first 4 years of my career. That means I was doing less than, very
few.
little,
Yeah.
very few songs, two to three songs a year. That is what's going to stop you from growing as an artist. Because, like you said, that adaptive chip that every artist needs to develop needs information. It can't work unless your adaptive chip is so great that एक गाने में पता चल गया कि यार, but that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Like if you look at Beethoven, Mozart, like the greatest in the world, they made hundreds and thousands of songs, man. So they took that every single step they were taking, they were like taking information, taking it in, going out. Like, it's just like, you need to do that. So don't get emotional. And the third thing, what did you say? Which was?
The kind of music that they put out also, like they experimented, like with you also I've seen, you have a huge range of experimentation. Like in between the lockdown, there were lots of singles of ballads that were coming out from you. Prior to that, as a producer, you made lots of beat kind of music. I've been in your studio, I've heard, it's like your range is also very different. So a lot of artists sometimes get confined within that space where they feel they can't expand with that and then they just let it go with that.
But see, that's the thing. So I'm in that phase of my career right now, where I'm in that third phase, which you just mentioned, that we get stuck and we go, like, kya karenge? Kitna karenge of the same song. But I think that you got to work it. So I'll break this down, right? So 3 things I feel like artists need to really focus on is identity, vision, and intent. Okay. Your identity is your differentiating factor, which is like you versus everyone else. Your vision, dude, the bigger your vision, the bigger your gains, like you're going to. So that's something you got to adapt and say, okay, what's my vision? What do I want to do? What do I want to say? Do I have anything to say?
But realistic. Yeah. But realistic.
I don't know, man. Dreams are never realistic. If you tell anybody that, hey, these are my dreams, I want to be a pop star, they'll laugh at you. They'll be like, bro, less than 1% of the 1% of the 1% make it. So realistically speaking, your chances of being a pop star are, there are 100 pop stars in the country. In the entire country of 1 billion people, there are 100 pop stars. Correct. So, that's how small that number is. And, so it's realistic. I don't know, but I would say your vision has to be real, not realistic. At the end of the day, your vision is not about how big your video is or what are you trying to say? Like, do you have anything to say? And if you don't have anything to say, go back to your identity. Figure out who you are, right? And what do you have to offer to the world? I feel like I have so much to offer to the world. That's why I became independent. People are going to see that with my new album. But I think that then the last thing is intent. How strongly do you intend to execute? Are you saying that, I didn't make it because? What's the intent there? Were you ever really intending to put out your music? And that's the biggest thing artists face. Like, they make a song, it's great. They play it to their friends, friends sing along, wo bajana. But they never release it because there's never an intent to be famous or big, or all these things are all lost without intent, right? So I think that identity, vision, and intent. Yeah.
I think your brain is also very well programmed. When I see a lot of artists abroad also, even people like Kanye, a lot of people can laugh at him because sometimes say that what he does, but he's built $1 billion brand and, apart from music, he keeps thinking. A lot of artists abroad have started branching out so much. And because of that, a new fan following has also come in. I think that's happened with you also. Do you think your fan following also increased because they realized that this guy is a really top-notch producer of music as well? Do you think that helped you on your YouTube channel and all as well?
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the technical parts of things, my problem is I do too much. That's always been my problem. I'm not able to send a single message out to the world and I'm failing at my marketing. So that's my weakness, that I'm not good at marketing. Whatever I've done, I've met a friend of mine who's very big in the pageant scene. She's actually discovered the new Miss World and the last Miss, the new Miss Universe. So she's responsible for that whole thing. And she told me that, Arjun, I feel that you've made it this far only on the basis of your talent. When I see you, I don't know you at all. Like, who is Arjun Kanungo? I still don't know. You know, what are you about? I don't know. You have made it all the way till here just with your talent by itself, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
You know, but when I look at you, I'm blank. I don't like see anything. Like, it's just like I see a very talented person, but that's it.
yeah, but there's no dhacha around you that says, ye hai, that, we can put a finger on to sell him more.
But there's no box you could put me in. That's the problem. And like I was reading somewhere that when you make an album, the biggest mistake that newcomers make or big artists even make is they try to put too much into the album. Dance song bhi hai, ye song bhi hai, wo song bhi hai. What that guy said, and it made so much sense to me, was that you make 3 albums, and then you take the songs which sound similar and put them into one album and make 3 of them. So, so you make 20 songs. Yeah. And you say that, okay, one is a ballad album, one is a, this album, because then the audience knows what to expect with every song. So this time with my album also, I've broken up into 2 parts, fast and slow. There's no like, are ballad bhi hai, ye hai, wo hai. It's super simple. Dance and love. Dance and romance. That's it. So
and lots of snow thrown in between in the videos.
Yeah, I wish, man. I wish that my album is going to be very different from that. It's not, it's completely different from Baha Le Jaa, which we're talking about today.
Oh, acha, I thought that was also part of this.
No, bro, वो नहीं है. वो separate, वो independent है. ये हम लोग सारे की बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर.
But you do so much at one time, na? One sort of will start to realize. Eventually, I don't know how you're going to be able to say that this is for this album, this is for this label, this is for me. I'm telling you, this is going to be.
I'm a different man. I'm coming with this album. I'm telling you, I gave up $1 million to not give this to a label. I'm not even kidding. A label offered me a bunch of money. I said no.
But I read that you've taken it. We read about the $1 million deal.
That's a different deal altogether.
That's another $1 million.
वो मैंने ले लिया. वो मैंने ले लिया.
अच्छा, $1 million, हाँ, first of all, अगर आप सुन रहे हो, not
$1 million 10 lakhs तो कुछ नहीं है. एक गाना नहीं बनता उसमें.
Now, coming to this track also, you're such a perfectionist, and which is held you in good stead. The kind of songs that should be there, the kind of shooting that should be there. Even I'm sure about the kind of chashma that you should wear also. Like, kala hona chahiye ya brown hona chahiye. This is also what you were thinking about.
I wish, man, this whole video was so hard because we shot in like -25, right? So, ये हम लोग को जो shoot करना था और वहाँ पर जाके जो देखा वो बिल्कुल अलग था क्योंकि इतनी ठंडी थी, बाप रे बाप. And I swear, also there were like unusual challenges. Like Manali has crazy traffic, so our truck with the camera equipment got stuck in traffic for 5 hours. We lost sunlight. 5 घंटा.
And you're on a tight schedule of time, obviously.
You're shooting 12 hours a day, so you lose half the day is gone. Like we had to add an extra day of shoot, and that costs money. And then what happens is that your product takes a toss because obviously you have to cut budgets and this and that. So we tried our best to give the best we could, but we faced a lot of unique challenges here, man. Like it was the truck got stuck. We couldn't even walk. The thing is that it's ice, so you can't pick up the camera and walk towards the center. It was maybe a couple of kilometers away. But you slip every few steps because it's water mixed with snow, so it becomes ice.
Wow!
So it's
this is like an Iron Man or triathlon or something, man.
Yeah, it was tough, man. And we were in these clothes which are not really meant for the cold because we were costumes, right? So it wasn't really like these big windbreaker jackets where you could just wear it over and feel warm. It was really, really cold.
But it still looks good, man. It's not like I could have picked up something that.
No, yeah, for sure, yeah. But you brought the perfectionist thing, so I just thought I mentioned this because I was like, wasn't so perfect. The way we had planned it was something entirely different. Yeah.
When you talk about videos across the world, I've noticed there was a phase where people started making films out of their videos. I used to love Madonna's videos and all that. They started making small films. You used to do that as well. I remember the video with you and Carla was like a complete film. There's a whole script. Even this one. Do you want to switch back into the mode of where, some artists abroad have gone back into studios and, just pyrotechnics and lights and all that. That makes it so much simpler. And you could probably do more gravity-defying stunts. Britney Spears used to do it. You haven't done too much of that kind of video making. Do you think that helps? And do you think you want to do that?
Again, it depends on intent, man. What are you trying to say to the audience? I think it's so important to you hold your vision. The most difficult thing for an artist to do is hold on to the vision and make it financially viable. Yeah. Because we all have big dreams, right? We want to awe the world with our creativity. but creativity costs money, man. Like it's like a bunch of like money that you might not get back. And for me, I think the most important thing is that I kind of now stay true to my artistic vision. So it's like I'm telling you, man, I'm in this space now where I've done what I wanted to do in the commercial pop space.
Yeah.
And I turned around to me and my fiance were talking a couple of days ago, and I was just the whole last few weeks I've just been thinking a lot, and I turned around to her and I told her, like, listen, I don't think I'm a great artist. And she's like, why do you say that? I was like, I just don't feel it. Like I'm not. She's like, I think you're amazing, and she was like super supportive. But I was like, I don't know, man. I don't feel it. I don't feel like I've given everything I wanted to give.
You haven't really taken a break also ever, even in the pandemic is when you were the most productive. Maybe, like sportsmen, do you think you want to take like a break and rethink? Some artists have done that and for the better.
Yeah, I don't know about a break, but I think I definitely want to like kind of now not, worry about. I've made the money now. Now it's like for the first time in my life, I can lose everything I make and start again because I have something to lose, right? It's like, it's almost like a rebirth. People say like, it's so difficult to have a rebirth, but to have a rebirth, you have to have something to lose. You have to die.
Correct.
So like, like there's a saying in the Marines, right? Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
But you built this empire. People look at building this. But you started with nothing on your own. You built it all on your own. It's not handed to you. And a lot of people then want to cement their place, and you go back into the annals of history, and the greats have always wanted to cement their place and cement and cement and cement, and only towards the fag end. You're 6 years old in the industry and you're thinking like this.
I don't know, man. I feel like, the history was very, very complicated. It was written after the fact, right? तो कोई बंदा बैठा था और बोल रहा था कि when those artists were experiencing reality, they were not thinking that I want to make history. That was after the fact. They became history, right? So
True.
I think that what they chased was something which was like, absolutely like true, like I think they were chasing the nature of the beast itself. True. They wanted to know what it's like. What is it like? What am I chasing? I want to know who I am. And eventually, for artists, that's all it's about. It's about exploring yourself. Like, what situation can I put myself in which will surprise me? Me who knows me, what situation can I put myself in to surprise me and go like, whoa, I did not know I would feel or react this way. That's what an artist's life is all about. Like, it has me thinking so much about like, like it's so easy to vilify actors and musicians in the press because they're always doing crazy things. But unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast. That's what they were put here to do. They were put here to kind of test those limits and push themselves to the point where they ask themselves and go like, yo, this is, what's next for me? What can I feel that's not been felt? What can I make other people feel that's not been felt? Right? So
it was never an assembly line. You're not part of a factory production, which is the same, which is, by the way, how it was becoming. A lot of artists continue to do that and rake in the moolah and do all this. But
this is what I've loved about you. You are really different.
That'll keep happening, man. I think that'll keep happening. I think you have that factory line and it's not going anywhere because it's supported by very, very strong foundation of like billions and billions of dollars. So, and a lot of people's livelihoods on the line. So I think that's not going anywhere. But I think that, like, there's no point of it if you're not putting your best foot forward. Let's just put it that way,
There's so much that people have to learn from you. You have to start a live podcast for a lot of people, I think, Arjun, because they don't think like you. And a lot of people get stuck in that. And I know a lot of performers I've met. Just before this, I was chatting with Neeti Mohan. Same thought process. She said it was, if I don't feel the tingle in my back when I was recording with Sanjay Leela Bhansali, there's that little nervous energy that you quickly forget and convert. She says, otherwise I don't feel excited. It's not about like how many more shows you will do. It's not like that for me. And
Yeah, it doesn't excite me. I don't want to be the biggest artist in the world. That's just not I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to see how well I can know myself, and that's tough to do if you don't put yourself in situations you haven't been in before. Like they say, right? If you can't expect a different outcome by following the same process. That's insanity.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you got to keep switching it up. Let's see what happens. And yeah, I think we're close, man. I think I'm close to having that. I can feel it. Like this album, man. I can't tell you what we've put into it. It's like, I mean, it's been a year of me working on it. So I mean, Baha Le Jaa yeah,
I've heard bits and pieces in your studio when you were, I think, working on it.
yeah.
Have
yeah.
I?
So I think I played you one track. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah, so Baha Le Jaa is like one of the songs which is supposed to be on the album. Actually, it was the first. It was supposed to be on the album, but I think that what happened was that we kind of just decided to put it on with this with this release because it was like the right time, Valentine's Day, this that. So it was a good time to release it. I think it's been received very well. I'm very happy that we did that because again, that was the most commercial song on the album. So like it was like.
And that word is not an easy word for him, although when he acted also, he did the most commercial possibility that was possible.
Man, I made the opposite. Like we've made, me and my brother Dhruv, he's my cousin, he's a director. He's made a film. Yeah. And it's the opposite of commercial. I'll call you for the screening, please come. It's called The Swipe. And it's a trip, man. I've acted in the film. And you must come and see it because it's the opposite of what you guys have seen me in. Like the absolute polar opposite.
I was going to ask you when I was seeing you again, because is that just an experiment or is that going to be a bit of a norm also, performance in front of the screen?
And I think that one good thing about social media is that it's blurred the lines completely. Yeah. Like you can't be just an actor anymore. You can't be just a musician anymore. There's a little bit of everything that you do. Like if you're going to be an actor, you better know how to modulate your voice. If you are going to be a singer, you better know how to at least act in your own music videos. Because gone are the days of the playback singer. It's going to be super hard for those guys to compete with what these guys are bringing. Man, the new generation, man, the next generation after me, like the next 6 years, it is exciting. I can't tell you. I started this company called One Mind Music. We have producers here. I'm working with young talent. And we are it's unbelievable because they've been exposed to so much more than we were, right? When we were kids. There's so much information and there's so much this and that. So it's like, oof.
Whenever you meet him, you always feel like you need to get into fast forward mode with him because it's like the present is going past you before you can actually count it. Arjun, thanks so much, brother, for joining me. But as always, it's a learning experience for me and I love it. And enjoy every moment that I spend with you, man. Thank you.
Cheers, man. Thanks for having me.